goal of this video is going to show those of you that might have missed the review session, or those of you that want to refresh yourself on some of the ideas of the first review session, some of the techniques that we really need to make sure that we're using for when we study for our AP exam. Anyway, one of the major suggestions that I always make to students is make sure that you avoid just memorizing the information. If you just simply memorize information, it will be innate and you'll have great difficulty of using it when it comes time. The AP test is going to make sure that it's going to really assess your ability to think, not your ability to remember. And so therefore what we want to make sure that we're doing is that we can make a variety of connections between the information. What you're going to see from the studying approach is that you'll be able to tie a lot of different ideas that you learned in class to one another, strengthening your knowledge. Alright, so for example, what you're looking at right here on the screen is an example of how you could study using a mind map. This is one of the concepts that we've used. It's very valuable. And what this does, it allows you to see the different connections within the different topics that we've learned about. Now, right here, I've started with a civilization, the Roman. What you need to do for each one of these civilizations is you need to identify it within one of these civilization wave contexts, as well as the years that that civilization emerged. General range of years. The exact year, the exact date doesn't really matter. But why it's important to make sure that you have the wave is that that allows for you to be able to associate it with several other general characteristics that are consistent throughout that wave. So for example, Rome, the Greece civilization, the Persians, the Han Dynasty, the Mauryans, the Mayan, they all have a variety of characteristics that are rather the same, and that's why we as historians are able to lump them together. And so a lot of times you're not going to know the exact answer, but you can take these generalizations and you can apply them to a question, and when you do that, that'll allow for you to conclude what the correct answer might be. So it allows you to think and apply. Alright, so what you want to do is you'll notice that I have Rome here in the middle. Then I've broken up into several different spokes our AGM sprite spectrum: art, geography, military, society, religion, intellect. I actually moved technology down here. That'll reveal itself as to why here in a moment, as well as economics. Now what you need to do is you need to, when you're studying, is you need to be able to connect several different ideas to the Roman civilization. So for example, let's elaborate on geography. You need to be able to identify where exactly each one of these civilizations emerged. Now I'm going to be using Webspiration to illustrate how to do the mind mapping. You probably don't need to use a program such as this unless you really would like to. So for example, within the idea of geography, and I'll create a little arrow connecting, you find location. You need to be able to identify the location of where the Roman civilization is. So in this case you could put surrounding the Mediterranean Sea as an example. Or maybe you also could put Europe, primarily southern Europe, and North Africa, and Middle East at the empire's height. Alright, so that would be an example of how you are now elaborating with some of the specific information. Again, I want to connect those ideas together. Another thing is human environment interaction. How exactly did the Romans use their land? That's an important theme and idea. So what we do there, we can create some more bubbles. And, let's say for example, sea trade. So as a result of the sea trade, they have to develop several different ships. Another way in which they're interacting with their environment is, you could say, the need for water. All right, aqueducts to obtain water. Alright, so you notice that that is a way to transport the water to the different cities. Now, as to why I put technology over here is aqueducts obtaining the water, that conveys some of their technological capabilities. You could continue to further elaborate with aqueducts to obtain water for the archways. The archways were necessary for limiting the amount of material that they were going to need to build the structure and also allow for people to pass underneath. And so this is an example of Roman technology. So you can also kind of connect those ideas together. So again, you have this connection, and that's what you need to continually do. Within the technology, other examples could have potentially been we have road building. I know that they use the thing called the Gromer. Other technological innovations, the building of walls, siege equipment, wall construction. Specifically, you could point out Hadrian's Wall, which was in Britannia. Hadrian's Wall. Okay, and then you probably want to identify the location in Britannia. Okay, so then, again, you're elaborating with these different details. Society. You might want to break that one down where you add stratified social classes. And then from there, we want to make our little connection. What are some of the social classes that we have? We have the plebeians, middle class. All right, again, you want to connect those ideas together. You have the patricians. All right, and they are the wealthy ruling class. All right, connect that. You also have slaves. All right, put that right there, and again, make that connection between the two. And you could go on as to how the function of these different groups of people, and so on and so forth. Some of the individuals within these different classes, maybe some of the politicians. Let's talk about politics while we're at it. Do we even have a P on here? We don't have a P, so let's add a P. So politics. And here you'd want to discuss the political structure. We know that initially the Romans were a republic. Add that in. Representative government. All right, and then to kind of expand on that idea further, why did they have a republic initially? They were believed absolute power corrupted. Okay, and then to also go along with that idea, we also have two consuls. And maybe you want to add similar to president. They're like the executives. However, there's a difference. You notice that we have two. Why do we have two? Again, the same idea that they believe that absolute power corrupted absolutely. Eventually, we know that we also have Julius Caesar, and they transition to empire. All right, and you make the connection there, and their rulers were called Caesars, after the man that established the precedent, Mr. Julius Caesar, illustrating why he's so significant. So you could go along with that, and you could elaborate further with the Caesars. Oops. Okay, or different leaders. So right there, you could put Augustus. Here we can put Julius Caesar. Hadrian, kind of connects with the wall that we had mentioned earlier. Caligula. All right, Nero, and so on and so forth. And then with them, you would want to elaborate further ideas for these individuals. All right. So again, we want to make these connections. Now, this is one approach that's often popular amongst students. Another approach that you could potentially use, if you don't like the mind mapping, this isn't how your brain kind of functions, is let me move on over to the outline version. So as I've been completing this mind map right here, it also allows for you to go to an outline view. And if you, as you'll notice, whoops, many of you, your notes look like this. We start with our main topic, Rome. And then within that, we have a couple pieces of information, geography, and the subpoints of geography. some of the elaborating ideas. We didn't discuss our economic military, but we discussed society. And then again, we have the breakdown of society. Then we have technology, some examples of the technology, and then of course the transition to empire, the details that expand on that. Alright, now if we want to go back, we notice that we have a lot of these similar characteristics in the Han Empire and Han Dynasty. And what you could do is you could expand on that, and all of this falls under the category of second wave civilizations, and that's what we would title this. So this is an example as to how you should be studying for your AP exam. In addition to this, let's also look under the political section. You can also discuss some of the key concepts that are within our our study guide. For example, we have the 12 tables of Rome, which were the governing documents. All right, and again, this kind of the Republic that connects that. And in addition to that, that is something that laid down the framework to establish the prevent power of the corrupt, as well as establish the two consuls, as well as we need to probably also add the Senate. All right, the Senate, connect that. We also have the plebeian assembly as another organization. And notice how this is quickly, you've tied all these different key concepts that we've learned so far in class together, and you get to see the significance as how they all relate. Okay, I hope that this video was successful in conveying how you need to study. One quick note, you clearly don't have enough time to do this with all 62 civilizations, and then to do that with all the documents and all the religions, so on and so forth. So my recommendation is that you do this for the civilizations that you feel the weakest on. If you need to go back, make sure that you check out the Cracking the AP textbook. In addition to that, also make sure that you're checking out your own textbook, or even doing Wikipedia searches. You can find some information. Make sure that you cross-reference it to make sure that it is reliable. All right, if you need any other assistance and help, please make sure that you come see me. I'll make sure that this Webspiration map and outline are shared with you so that you can see a clear demonstration laid out for you online. All right, have a good day. I hope this was helpful.